We are Team 4, this is our video for Stage 1, and let me start with an introduction. I'm Gonzalo, and I'll be talking about the cells. What are cells? Cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. They are the smallest unit that can live on its own, and they make up living organisms and the tissue of the body. They provide structure for the body, taking nutrients from food, convert those nutrients to energy, and carry out specialized functions. Cells also contain the body's hereditary material and can make copies of themselves. Cells have many parts, each with a different function. Some of these parts, called organelles, are specialized structures that perform certain tasks within the cell. What do all cell types have in common? All cell shares four things in common. Number one, a plasma membrane, an outer covering that separates the cell's interior from the surrounding environment. Two, a cytoplasm, consisting of a gel-like region within the cell in which other cellular components are found. 3. The nucleus / the DNA, the genetic material of the cell, and last, number 4, the ribosomes, which process the cell's genetic instruction to create proteins. Of course, there are other parts that are important, like the cytoskeleton, Golgi, mitochondria, etc. But the first four are the ones that most have in common. There are two types of cells, the eukaryotic and the prokaryotic. The eukaryotic cells are the ones plant and animals have. They are multicellular and are given to any cell that has an enclosed nucleus, as you can see at the example I put. The prokaryotic cell are unicellular, the ones that compose bacteria and archaea. Many have a capsule shape made of something called polysaccharide, which is some kind of gel. And this will be it for me.
Hello, good, hello, good afternoon. My name is Diego Nicolás Carrón Velasco. I'm from the group 203, and today I'm going to talk about the characteristics of living things and the difference between the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Well, first I'm going to talk about the characteristics of living things. There are 8 characteristics that all living things have in common. The first characteristic is that they are made of one or more cells. The second one is that they have a metabolism. The third one is that they maintain homeostasis. The fourth one is that the fourth characteristic is that they respond to stimuli. They also possesses DNA as their genetic material. Uh, they can grow, also they can reproduce, and the last characteristic is that they can evolve. And those were the 8 characteristics that all human livings, all living things have in common. And then I'm going to talk about the differences between the eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. First, I'm going to show you how these two seems like. Well, this is a prokaryotic cell. As you can see here, it doesn't have a nucleus. And here is the eukaryotic cell. Well, the essential difference between these two is that eukaryotic cells have a nucleus and prokaryotic cells don't. Another difference is that prokaryotic cells are always unicellular, while eukaryotic cells are often multicell organisms. Another difference is that prokaryotic cells are from 1 to 2 micrometers in diameter, while eukaryotic cells range in diameter from 10 to 100 micrometers. And these were some of the characteristics between those two types of cells. And that's it.
Hello, my name is Alberto Salterreño Tejerina, and I am talking about the microscope history and cell theory. In microscope history, we We start in 1021 with Al Heitman when published his book of optics, in which the functioning of the lenses is described. The next few centuries, around 1600, Hans and Zacharias Janssen made the first compound microscope, and Hooke upgraded this microscope, adding a tube inside 50 centimeters longer and made up of three lenses. In 1667, Anthony van Leeuwenhoek made microscope by grading his own lenses. With only one lens, his microscope, and he can magnify objects 200 to 300 times. Leeuwenhoek observed distinct cells, how like blood or cells, animals, etc. In the cell theory, this theory is proposed that all living things are in common, that they are made of cells. First proposed by Theodor Suchman and Matthias Sladen in 1838. The English physicist Robert Hooke described cork and other plant tissues in 1665, introduced the term cell. After, in his publication Micrographia, he showed excellent pictures of cell walls. Then Leeuwenhoek in 1667 discovered blood cells, spermatocyte, and lively world of animalcules. But the credit will go to botanist Matthias and zoologist Theodore. These scientists worked together in Sladen's laboratory, proved that all plant tissues made up of cells, and come the same conclusion for the animal tissue, declaring a cellular basis for all life forms. The cell theory have four postulates. What are: one, all living organisms are made of cells; two, cells are the basic unit of life; three, cells arise from pre-existing cells; and four, hereditary information is passed from cell DNA. And this is all. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Alonso Segovia, and I'm gonna tell the different forms of cell transport. Passive mechanisms like diffusion use no energy, while active transport requires energy to get done. Active is when a carrier protein moves molecules or ions across the membrane against a concentration gradient that requires cell's energy. There is when the movement goes from an area of low concentration to a place of high concentration. Osmosis is the diffusion of water through a semi-permeable membrane that separates two solutions with different concentration of solute. A substance that can dissolve a semi-permeable membrane predominantly allows the passing of solvent molecules. The fluid capable of dissolute but not dissolute molecules. Diffusion is the process by which molecules from a higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. If the substance that need to cross the membrane are ions or polar molecules of considerable size and low solubility, they must use specific transport proteins. This phenomenon is called diffusion. Endocytosis, when the cell needs to acquire extensive materials from extracellular environment. They are engulfed by the plasma membrane and transported through vesicles. This phenomenon requires energy and is called endocytosis. Endocytosis has three types of activities: pinocytosis, receptor-mediated endocytosis, and phagocytosis. In pinocytosis, the plasma membrane forms an impulse that encloses contents outside the cells and subsequently strangles at the edge, releasing small pockets or vesicles into the cytosol. Receptor-mediated endocytosis involves binding molecules from the cell's environment to molecules on the membrane, which falls into a well and engulf its process allows the introduction of hormones.
My name is Alfredo, and I will be talking about the different levels of organization in the human body and hemostasis. Okay, so first, what is the levels of organization? This refers to the structure of living organisms, from the smallest and simple unit to the largest and most complex. First, there's the atoms. Atoms are the basic units of matter and the defining structure of elements. Then we have the molecules. These are the building blocks of most of the substances in the world, including the organic compounds that make up living organisms. Then there's the macromolecules. These are large organic molecules composed of repeating units called monomers. These are four main There are four main types of macromolecules. These are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. Then we have the organelle. It is a specialized structure within a cell that performs a specific function. Each organelle has a specific role in maintaining the health and proper functioning of the cell. Then we have the cell. It is the basic unit of life and the smallest structure capable of functioning independently. Then the tissue. It is a group of similar cells that perform a specific function in an organism. Tissues form the basic building blocks of organs and organ systems. Then we have the organ. The organ is a group of tissues that work together to perform a specific function. These are found in most multicellular animals. Finally, a system is a group of organs that work together to perform a specific function or set of functions in an organism. For example, the digestive system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, or nervous system. Now, the homeostasis. The homeostasis is the ability to maintain the internal conditions of a living being despite the conditions of the external environment. Studies have shown that animals and plants keep their inner world constant by physiological mechanisms. For example, in humans, sweating helps to heat loss and shivering triggers so the muscle generates heat. Thank you.
Pregnancy, addictions, and obesity.
Pregnancy. According to the 2019 report for the prevention of teenage pregnancy carried out in Nuevo León, the percentage of adolescent pregnancies in the state is 15.5%. All these teenage pregnancies in the state, 64%, are among women between 18 and 19 years. This, in turn, may involve other risk factors for adolescent mothers, such as illegal abortions, psychological violence due to abandonment, child abuse, social rejection of the mother, school dropout, and multiple health problems for both the mother and her baby. Addictions, social networks. They are fundamental to keeping us informed, creating strategic alliances to become millionaires by making videos and even finding the perfect partner with the swipe of a finger. With all this, we can say that we are the happiest generation, the best informed, the one that makes the best decisions about our lives, and of course, the one that most influences the world around us. Drugs and alcohol. Today, we know that drugs modify the structure and chemistry of the brain and therefore its functioning. This is important because it has led us to understand that addicted patients, even if they want to, cannot stop independently. Instead, they need appropriate treatment. Obesity. It is easy to identify the obesity problem around us. Mexico is the most obese country in the world. Almost 60% of the state's inhabitants are obese or overweight. Beyond the well-known diseases associated with this condition such as diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension, which are, by the way, the leading causes of death in the country.